Hello, and today we'll continue with Chapter 4 of Temptation's Ballad. The walk to the royal palace was a quiet one. Barnaby and May led the charge, chatting quietly among themselves about the history of noble families or something like that. Sid dawdled behind the group with Calder. The older hyena silently clung to his arm and did not utter a single word since they left the inn. Sid saw him with frequent, worried glances. The noble completely clammed up and his gaze fixed firmly to the ground as though trying to ignore everything around him. Hey, I know I already asked, but is everything okay? Your grandpa doesn't seem like an easy guy to live with. Calder immediately snapped up, as though waking from the daze. A scowl slid over his face as naturally as one would squint into the morning sun. Of course I'm okay. Why is that even a question? Do not make presumptions of things you don't understand, plebeian. Sid smiled awkwardly as he raised his hands in surrender. Hey man, I'm not assuming anything. You just look kinda awful and I wanted to know if there's anything I can do to help. Calder blinked, taken aback before the scowl returned. There's nothing that you can do, commoner. In fact, there's nothing to do. I have my responsibilities as my father's heir and to the burdens that come with it. And I am perfectly capable of carrying them on my own. Thank you very much. The noble upturned his nose and stomped off, hurrying to the front of the group where Maeve and Orderby were chatting. Despite his best attempts to puff out his chest, Sid couldn't help but notice a slump of his shoulders through that weak facade. Cole startled up next to him with a raised brow. Yes, even when you try to help the guy, he's an absolute dick about it. I'm not sure why you even bother. Well, everyone deals with stuff differently. Speaking of which, are you okay too? Cole immediately stifled. Of course I'm okay. The bard caught himself and blinked. Don't like that. They walked silently together for a few minutes before Cole sighed. Alrighty, okay might be a bit generous, but I'm dealing with it. Everything sucks, but it's a long time coming. Did your dad really take it that badly? Cole threw his hands up in the air. That's the worst part. I couldn't even confess anything. I just kind of broke down. He's had to comfort me. So much for taking responsibility and all that shit. I guess we're putting it off until a later time. Cole looked at him sharply. You will talk to him, won't you? What? Of course I will. Why wouldn't I? I already promised that I tried to suck less. Didn't realize how little faith you had in me, big guy. I have faith in you. It's just that, well... Sid glanced around. They were lagging behind with Ornaby, Maeve, and Calder well out of earshot. You said yesterday that you were gonna tell Ornaby about your little theft. But you still haven't yet. Listen, I'm going to. I'm just not ready yet. It's just a lot, yeah? Sid fell silent for several long moments. Can I give you my thoughts on something? Are they good thoughts? I could use a good thoughts too. Not quite. More like neutral observations. Don't like that either. I can put it off till later if you want. Cole bit his lip, his brow furrowed with discomfort. Really don't like that. But sure, hit me. Sid smiled softly. I've been thinking, and don't take this the wrong way, but sometimes it's not about you. Cole frowned but did not retort. Sid took this as permission to continue. Sometimes people deserve to know the truth, but you being not ready isn't good enough. Sometimes you just have the responsibility to tell them, and you just gotta stop putting yourself first for a bit. Cole's gaze was fixed on Ornaby's back as they continued strolling through the streets. He nodded his lip, his face twisted in an anxious nod. I know. I'm going to tell her. Listen, I have a plan, right? A way to get Army off the hook from her whole revoking her title thing with her mom. I just figured we got rid of your death sentence with something to blow. You do have a lot of plans. Stay aside. Arby's my friend too, boss. I hope your plan goes well, but if you put it off for too long, I'm going to tell her myself, and she should really hear it from you. She will. I'll do the right thing, I promise. I just need more time. His voice wavered for a moment. We'll still be friends, right? Even if everything goes tits up. Sis gave something and he pulled the hyena close. Of course, boss. Castle Diluvium, front gates. Artemy's eyes grew wide as their group approached the gates of the royal palace. So this is the home of the royal family. You can see the tower looming in the horizon across Axia. They feel so different up close. Imagine how different things would be if you managed to find this place on your own a few days ago. Artemy let out an offended gasp. How rude. It was my first time venturing out in the city, and I couldn't find my way around the moat surrounding the castle. Anyone could have made such a mistake. Doesn't Axia's main cobblestone street lead straight to the castle? It's got flags with the royal family's crest and everything. I have you know, I followed precisely that street on my own on my first mission, but it took me nowhere near the palace. Cole squinted. You went the wrong way. There were no signs. I simply went in the direction that made the most sense. Away from the big castle tower on the horizon, I was distracted. Cole sighed and patted Army on the back sympathetically. Well, at least you ended up safely in jail where we could find you. Thank goodness you stuck at directions. Artemy's face was clouded with the grief-stricken look of a kid puppy. She gingerly tugged at Sid's sleeve. Sir Sid, surely don't agree with this. Well, honestly, I'm kind of glad you suck since that's the week we met. Such brutal words from my dearest friend. Know that you've wounded me deeply. But wait, I meant it in a good way. I'm afraid you've lost five. I'm afraid you lost high five privileges for the foreseeable future. That's kind of devastating. Well, she's learning to clap back. Cold blade as the group crossed the narrow road leading to the castle gates. Rows of guards were stationed at the entrance, but one familiar knight towered over the rest. A worried frown filled Cole's face as he elbowed Artemy urgently. Hey, Artie, just a heads up, but your knight commander's here. Artemy immediately stiffened. Sir Grank here? You alright? You don't have to talk to him if you don't want to. I could probably pull some strings to get past him unnoticed. As you know, I'm incredibly skilled at avoiding conversations. Artemy saw him a grateful look, but firmly shook her head. No, but thank you for the thought. I will have to speak with him eventually. It would be best if I faced things now instead of letting it fester. Cole felt his stomach twist with loose glass. The ease with which Artemy stepped forward in spite of the torment on her face. It shouldn't kill him inside the way that it did. He should be proud, happy for her, even, shouldn't he? For a split second, Cole hoped that she would fail, and knew he truly was the worst person in the world. Oblivious to the storm of self-loathing boiling inside him, Artemy shut in a deep breath and stepped forward towards the castle's front gates. She stood tall and rigid, the picture of professionalism, but she couldn't quite bring herself to look Grank in the eyes. Greetings, Knight Commander. It is a surprise to see you here. The polar bear's brow rose with surprise at the sight of her, before quickly melting into a warm smile. Artemy found herself unable to smile back. The old bear did not comment on it, but the hurt in his voice was obvious. Oh, Artemy, dear girl, it's good to see you up and about after last night's debacle. Have you been well? Autumn bowed stiffly. I'm very well. Yes, I come here today to continue my investigation of the missing rubies. May I ask you why you are here at the palace? May I ask you why you are here at the royal palace? I have always worked closely with the royal family whenever they sought security, particularly with Prince Cassius. With the recent demon attack, they have called upon my service once more. I see. The two of them stood awkwardly at the front gates, unsure what to say. Autumn fixed her gaze firmly on the ground at her feet. She could feel the commanders peer at her pleadingly, desperate for a sign of something. Forgiveness, assurance that they were still on good terms. She couldn't quite say, and she was unsure if she was capable of such an answer at the moment. The seconds ticked by, and Autumn prayed to the Creator that the ground beneath her would open up and swallow her whole. Swallow her whole. Swallow her whole. The seconds ticked by, and Autumn prayed to the Creator that the ground beneath her would open up and swallow her whole. Anything to break the awkwardness of this exchange. Apparently, the Creator was feeling hilarious today because Colody suddenly strutted past her and let out a low whistle. The seconds ticked by, and Autumn prayed to the Creator that the ground beneath her will open up and swallow her whole. Anything to break the awkwardness of this exchange. Apparently, the Creator was feeling hilarious today because Colody suddenly strutted past her and let out a low whistle. Hey there, hot stuff. I heard through the grapevine that you were asking where my favorite bar was. Did something catch your interest? Oh, if it isn't Autumn's flattering friend. I was simply lamenting on where the fun spots were in action as of late. I'm afraid I've been quite out of the loop. Tavern folks tend to run when they see a church night and full armor march into their establishment. If it's the fun you're looking for, hit me up. I'm pretty confident I can show you where you can find it. Ouch. Autumn, it's rather rude to hurl someone across the courtyard mid-conversation. My deepest apologies. I don't know what came over me. But, sir, if you insist on becoming acquainted with my new companions, I must insist you avoid that one. And why is that, young Bonebreaker seems to be such a charming young gentleman. You mustn't be fooled, sir. Cody Bonebreaker is a terrible influence. You must resist his temptations. Oh, why don't you talk to my good friend, Lady Osby? She's much nicer and less prone to terrible life decisions. Enter the lady. Maeve curtsied politely. Greetings. I am Maeve Osby, at your service. An amused grin spread across Squaint's face as he gave her a firm handshake. You must be the delightful little lass who's been running the Firefly Festival and stepping on all those noble toes. I admire your gumption. House Osby has done great work in feeding the hungry of this great city. I've worked with some of your druids before, and they are a wonderful bunch. Maeve raised an eyebrow. I'm surprised that the Knight Commander of the church would think so, given the druid's history with your church. Frank sighed and waved a hand dismissively. The upper clergymen will probably make a big stink about it while waving their big book about, but my roots lie in the streets of the city. From where I stand, the fewer starving children the better. May bowed again, a small smile peeking out from behind her veil. Your words honor me. Gautier's open-mindedness surprised me when we first met. Clearly she had an excellent teacher. All of you could see Grant's chest swell up with pride. I'm glad to hear my pupils make a good impression out there. Grant's face brightened as he cleared sight of Carter huddling behind Sid's tall frame. You're the gentleman that my dear Ornaby flattened into a fine paste in the joust yesterday. Good to see you still standing, lad. Carlos spluttered indignantly from behind Sid's bulk. That match was clearly rigged, you know it. Someone shouldn't be allowed in a competitive setting. Had it been a fair match, I would have easily snatched victory from your cheating grip. Oh, I'm happy to arrange a rematch. That shan't be necessary. Such an elegant sport is beneath my station anyhow. And it, and it is a sport that my favorite pupil absolutely crushed on her first attempt. I never imagined she'd be taking the field a mere day after stepping out into the world. You have my thanks for being the stepping stone for her victory, lad. Every passing minute, another shred of dignity is snatched from my cold, dead hands. I'm surprised you have any dignity left to lose. Ollie, come on, you promised. I apologize for my cruel remark. It was unbecoming of me. Carlos scoffed and turned his nose upwards. It seems your knight commander spent too much time teaching you to cheat at sports and not at all on basic manners. Watch your tongue. I will not stand for any defamation of the commander's character. Oh, he hardly needs my help on that front. Have you not heard the rumors? The air stilled. Reality came rushing back toward me like a flood, washing away what hardy banter they had in unearthing only cold tension. Sid glanced frantically between them and tugged on Calder's sleeve, dragging the hyena away from the barrel of snakes he had unknowingly knocked over. Okay, why don't we go check on Cole? I think he landed somewhere over that ledge. What? Where's the rust? I'm sure that little fart's thick skull is still intact. Miss Osborne, you can heal, right? Can you come along too? As you wish. The others awkwardly shuffled out of earshot, leaving Autumn and Grank alone to their own devices. Autumn cleared her throat loudly, wheeling away the encroaching silence. For what it's worth, I think you have a wonderful manner, sir. I've never been concerned with appearances, but thank you. The old bear peered at Autumn carefully. Very little ever perturbed the commander, but his visiting gloves betrayed a sliver of insecurity in spite of his words. I understand that you are working hard to build your own image as the creator's chosen. If you're concerned with matters of reputation, I can refrain from publicly consorting with you if you wish. What? No, of course not. That matters little to me. I'd rather we return to how things once were, as simple teacher and pupil. Grace's eyes softened. Was that ever lost? I don't know. Autumn hung her head low. She could hear the hurt on her mentor's face, but she could not bear to meet his gaze. Everything's moving so quickly. Things that were certain mere days ago are now a blur. I'm not sure what to think. Dee regretted stepping out into the world beyond the walls of the church district. The commander's voice fell into an almost nervous mumble. Do you resent me for sending you out on this mission? Autumn looked up sharply. No, of course not. There have been hardships, yes, but joy too. I've found people outside the cathedral's walls that mean the world to me, and I wouldn't give them up for anything. And she bit her lip, and their eyes finally met. They both froze, uncertainty hanging in the air. Autumn stared into the nervous look of her commander's face for several long moments before finally giving Grank a brief smile. Given the option, I wouldn't want to give up on my dear Knight Commander either. Those bears' face went through a cascade of emotions before settling into something so tender that it hurt to look at. Autumn suddenly felt a hot flash of shame for putting him through such doubt. Autumn, I wouldn't want to lose you either. I'm sorry, again, for keeping such secrets from you. The man that I was, the pale butcher, I did what I must survive, but it brought with me a lifetime of shame. That's not the man you are now, sir. I'm speaking to Grank Stormborn, the man who trained me and taught me all I know. He was also the man who set me down the path where I found my closest friends. Perhaps I don't know him as well as I thought, but that needn't be a frightening thing for either of us. A warm smile spread across White's face. I would love nothing more than to be reacquainted with my favorite pupil. Have grown quite wise. You have grown quite wise during your time out in the world. Despite your rumblings, your friends seem to be a wonderful influence. Audrey couldn't help but chuckle. Her chest felt lighter than it had in days. They were good people, good friends. Even that accursed Cody Bonebreaker. Don't tell him I said that, though. Best keep him on his toes. White let out a hearty laugh, and she found herself joking, and she found herself joining him. All that time spent dreading this reunion, it was nice to have her mentor back. Speaking of your friends. Audrey blinked and noticed the commander's gaze drift over her shoulder. She glanced around and a specific scene suddenly hit her like a mallet to the face. In the distance near the cliffside, Cole was down on one knee before Sid. His face was awash in a theatrical zeal as he slowly slid an onion ring across the badger's picking finger. To Audrey's horror and utter betrayal, Sid let out a gasp and pressed a dainty hand to his heart. But boss, this is so sudden. I'm super flattered, but think of our positions. Cole looked like he was having a stroke while trying to keep a straight face. Will you accept it? I do not sound like that. Sid clutched his chest, completely giving up on holding back his snickers. Yes, thank you. I take back what I said. I'm afraid I have made no such friends. Hey, Sid said you needed a distraction. We were helping. Is everything alright now? I need Calder in the corner here, just in case. Audrey stared skyward and prayed for the Creator to bless her with patience and forgiveness that she did not have. What have I done to deserve this suffering? But what is friendship but mutual torment? I'm glad you are doing well, dear girl. I'm sure don't feel like it. A slightly singed Cole shuffled up to them with a toothy grin. How did it go with your commander? Are you two cool again? Yes, excellent. I knew it would work out. That old bear always seemed the understanding type. Oh yes, you have been so helpful. Here, happy to be of service. If you take this as a sign to spread your dastardly influence onto the Knight Commander, you got another thing coming. Good luck catching me. I can teleport now. Miss Strikewood, you're doing us all. Maybe we join their little circle and clear her throat quietly. If I may interrupt the pleasantries, we are here to seek an audience with Prince Cassius. I believe Gantier sent a raven on this matter yesterday. Ah, yes, your meeting. I'm afraid His Highness is not available at the moment. The lad always had a delicate disposition, but the death of his parents and this recent demon attack have left him in quiet state. He has declined all meetings with officials and the public for the time being. Cole froze, his hackles rising. Right, seriously? But the chosen one herself wants to meet him. It's a big and important matter. I'm sure he can spare like 5 minutes to answer some questions. Grank shook his head firmly. His Highness was quite adamant he will not be seeing anyone today. To set himself off right after a demon attack on the city, surely he can see that this is not a favorable impression for his constituents. Has he made any formal statement on the situation at large? I'm afraid Prince Cassius has never seen himself as a real authority figure in any way. In his eyes, the role had fallen onto his lap, and he has neither the will nor the capability to fulfill it. And yet the role is his and his alone. We would happily take our business elsewhere, but there's simply no one else to return to. Is there any way he can be convinced otherwise? We need only a moment of his time. The bear sighed and shook his head. I'm afraid not. The prince It's quite the nervous wreck. I attempted to speak with him this morning, but it didn't go well. Cole gritted his teeth in frustration. He had anticipated that the prince might be tight-lipped, but to refuse to see them entirely. His princiness sure knows how to make things difficult. Cole took several steps back, his eyes tracing over the towering visions of Castle Diluvium. Ghostly gaze. His eyes glowed as his visions expanded, piercing through the stone walls until he found what he was looking for. I see him. He's at his window, watching us right now. Sure enough, poking out one of the topmost balconies of the castle tower was the tiny blue head of a peacock. Cole waved his arms wildly. Hey, Your Highness, get down here. The Chosen One needs your help with some shit. The church is gonna be well manned if you ignore her. The little blue head jumped, startled before immediately retreating back into his room. Your diplomacy skills are astounding. With a sigh, at least that got his attention, and frightened him into hiding, it seems. He's scared shitless about everything. Did you see him at the festival yesterday? Agitating him further will not help matters. This is a delicate situation. Mary glared up at the balcony towering high above him. If he is averse to conversation, perhaps we can send a letter directly to his window. He probably did not even read Gantia's original letter in the rush of yesterday's events. If he learns the gravity of our situation, oh please, he's got every reason to refuse us. We're wasting time. I'm going up there to talk to him myself. Excuse me, you can't simply barge into the royal palace unannounced. Cole shrugged. Alright. Yo, Prince, I'm coming up. Cassius slumped down behind the thick curtains of his balcony, his chest thumping rapidly. He knew that people would be seeking his attention after the demon attack, but he had hoped Sir Grank would keep most of them at bay. The thought of having to actually speak to someone from the outside. Cassius shivered, and not to mention that was the Creator's chosen, wasn't it? She was the reservoir that Father had spoken of. He was fairly certain he was not supposed to interact with her at all. Cassius swallowed against the anxious pounding of his chest. He wished Father was here. No one ever taught him how to do anything. He wasn't ready to deal with any of this on his own. There you are. Hey, your high holiness. I know you're busy hiding in your bedroom, but I need to talk to you about something. Who are you? Cassius fell backwards, his tail feathers spilling out in a cascade behind him. You shouldn't be here. This is a royal bedchamber. Oh, perfect. I've done excellent work in a lot of bed chambers. Just near a moment of your time, won't be a bother at all. My issues are just a simple matter of life and death. That doesn't make it any less stressful. But please leave. There are officials who can help you with your grievances. No. We need the help of the prince himself. The Creator's chosen count on you to save the day and all that good jazz. You're not gonna say no to divine providence, are you? If the chosen ones rely on my help of all people, then the world may well and truly be doomed. She probably wouldn't like me very much. I hate to disappoint her. The hyena blinked before glancing over his shoulder over the edge of the balcony with a wistful smirk. As a prime expert of disappointing the chosen one, I can safely say that you're fine. Artemis would love you. You're so... He gestured vaguely, messy and uptight, and a nervous wreck. You two would get along like two anxious peas in a pod. Cassius spluttered, his feathers puffing out indignantly. That's hardly flattering to either of us. The hyena shrugged. I'm not the flattering sort of guy. Just being real here. What, do you think the chosen one is some big scary warrior? The first time I met her, she was having a panic attack on the floor of a jail cell. He snorted. The hyena leaned over the balcony railing, quietly drinking in the sight of the city below. She was actually supposed to deliver that fancy crown to you that day. Obviously, that didn't work out, and things have kinda gone downhill from there. Artie's been beating himself up ever since. He has to stifle, his eyes flickering towards the drawer where the obsidian crown lay hidden. He hesitantly stepped forward and joined the short man on the balcony. His gaze trailed downward where the tiny figures of Autumn Gantier and her friends stood at the castle gates. In the distance, Autumn noticed their staring and frantically fumbled a strange mix between its salute and a bow. She does seem the nervous sort, doesn't she? Still, I can't imagine she'd be happy to see me in this state. Well, like you haven't left your bed in weeks? Happens to the best of us. She won't judge. Even if she does, what's she gonna do about it? You're the goddamn prince of Axia. He has to sought the hyena with a sheepish look. Well, one does prefer to be in the good graces of the divine savior of the world. I regret to inform you that your great holy savior is a massive doofus. I mean, just look at her. What are you afraid of? Barnaby jumped with a start and elbowed Sid nervously. So Sid, look, it's His Highness. How should we conduct ourselves? I've never met with royalty before. You asking me, I'm just a regular old commoner. The only times I've only ever seen the king and queen were during big parades. That's still more than I ever have, but what is the customary method of greeting them? Is there anything special we must do? Sid scratched his head. Sid scratched his head and shrugged. I don't know. You just kind of bow and wave. You know, just show respect and all that. Show respect? Why, yes, of course. How silly of me. Before Sid could utter another word, Barnaby promptly stepped forward and thrust her middle finger up in the air in the prince's direction. Now, Barnaby, what are you doing? Something wrong. This is a sign of great respect, is it not? You explained it as such yesterday. I'm glad I finally found the opportunity to use it. Sid stood aghast as Barnaby smiled brightly, her tail wagging furiously as she waved her middle finger high in the air in hopes of catching the prince's attention. Should he correct her? But if she found out right after flipping off the royal prince, she'd absolutely kill him. Maybe he should just start running for the hills to begin a life of solitude and isolation instead. She'll learn the truth from somebody eventually. Sid's heart jumped to his throat, and he spotted Lady Osmia approaching them with a raised brow. Yeah, I think certainly Sid is regretting doing that gesture, way back during the Firefly Festival. He kind of stick his middle finger out, and he lied to Autumn saying that it was a good gesture. That's the reason why Autumn is sticking her middle finger up, because Sid told her that it was a good gesture, even though he lied on purpose. It's not a good gesture, and he just did that because he was jealous and just being petty. Yeah, but he's regretting that now. So Lady Osmond, look, it seems Cole succeeded in grabbing his Highness's attention. Worry not, I've done my utmost to show the prince the respect he deserves. Bold. I'm impressed with your honesty, Gantier. You didn't seem the type. Behind her counter watched the whole exchange with a confused frown. The noble glanced at Sid inquisitively. Is he not aware? Sid grabbed the hyena by the shoulders and shook his head furiously. Counter stared at the storm of desperation and panic on his face before slowly nodding. Huh? Meanwhile, Prince Cassius was having an episode of his own and he let out a horrified gasp and clenched his chest. The greatest chosen just flipped me off. I knew she hated me on sight, but I never imagined to disagree. Oh, forget about that. Oh, I forgot about that. This actually means she likes you, funnily enough. Do not lie to me. I may be inexperienced, but I was not born yesterday. Now, I'm being serious, surprisingly. You should flip her right back to get a real kick out of it. Absolutely not. Good princes don't flip off his subjects. Cassius ducked behind the balcony, his back sliding down the wall as he rasped through his pounding heartbeat. Then again, I am not much of a good prince. Even the greatest chosen saw right through me. I'm pretty sure she thinks you're a pretty cruel dude. She'd probably tell you that herself if you actually went up and talked to her. Cassius let out an incredulous wheeze. You are a terrible liar, sir. I will not be throwing myself into a meeting with someone who clearly despises me. Take your business elsewhere. But whatever you need, I'm certain my officials will serve you better than a disaster like me. Dude, have you seen the bureaucracy in your city? It takes at least 3 business years for anything to get done. Cassius' shoulders slumped. I have not seen much of the city at all. Yesterday was my first time conducting duties outside the royal palace walls, and you saw how well that went. Whatever it is you're looking for, I'm certain you will find greater success with someone else. A strange look flickered across the rude hyena's face. Cassius suffered uncomfortably under his gaze. After a moment, the short hyena let out a sigh and plopped down on the floor to sit next to him. Hey, you doing okay? Huh? What? What do you mean? The hyena grinned sheepishly and vaguely gestured to all of them. I mean, your mom and pops just died, and you got a big city waiting for you to take the reins. And then a demon blew up one of your streets yesterday, so folks are probably hassling you for an answer. That's a lot to deal with in just a few weeks. So, you alright? Cassius stared at the other man, suddenly feeling a little lost. I'm not sure. But like you said, it's been a lot. Cassius let out a sigh and stared up at the ceiling. Mother's health has been declining for a long time, so it was expected. Father was beside himself with grief. And then they were gone, both of them. It was expected, but now I'm on my own. Sir Grank has visited often to check on me, but Cassius glanced down at the hyena strangely. No one else has asked me how I was doing. I'm not sure how to answer. The hyena's face brightened. Oh, are you close with the hot bear knight? He seems like a good guy. If you need to vent, he'll probably let you talk his ear off too. Memories of this morning flashed in his mind, and a pang of guilt sliced through his chest. Sir Grank and I have a strange working relationship. I think it's best that we speak to each other as little as possible. Yes. So if you've got no one, you're the prince. It shouldn't be this hard to find someone to sit with. Many people have sought my attention armed with honeyed words and ulterior motives. Not unlike the hyena laughed and held up his hands. Guilty as charged. I still need your help with something, but you have to be pretty heartless to see a guy breaking down on the bedroom floor and not feel him a little. Cassius smiled slightly. As rude as his hyena has been, barging into his room and making demands, at least he was easy to talk to. Tell me, what is your name? Oh, I'm Cole. Cole the Bonebreaker, if you're gonna be fancy about it. Nice to meet you, your princeliness. Cole hopped to his feet and bowed dramatically. Cassius stifled a laugh. Formal bowing did not look natural on this short, loincloth-clad man. I am Cassius Diluvium. It's pleasant meeting you too. I like your nickname. Oh, Cole? Yeah, Cole the is a bit of a mouthful. Love my papa, but good names aren't exactly his strong suit. The hyena scowled and quietly mumbled bonebreaker under his breath. It's nice I hardly hear my own name these days. It's mostly my lord this or your highness that. And everyone is usually so uptight and business minded you can hardly hold a conversation with anyone. Cole smirked. What, your name? What, you want a nickname too? I'm trying to imagine a city official walking up to the throne room and going, Yo, Cass, I need you to sign some papers. Cass just felt a small smile tug at his lips. That's honestly preferable. At least I know they still see a person under all this royal plumage. You know you're in charge now, right? You can literally go up to your lawmakers and go, Yo, I want everyone to call me Cass now. Everyone who does otherwise shall be sentenced to 50 hours of latrine cleaning duty. Cass just shook his head. I don't like Cass. People would probably mistake me for that famous buff accordion player from overseas. That's not a bad thing. Isn't he like hot, super hot? I mean, I prefer a more casual public image, but maybe not that casual. Cole shrugged. You're lost. I think the people would dig a hot prince. What about Cassie? Cassie? He laughed softly. Father would find the name atrocious. There was a brief silence as the unspoken thought hung in the air. Father isn't here right now. The thought struck Cassius out of his stupor. What is he doing, sitting on the floor, casually chatting with this strange man who just barged into his room? Father would be beside himself, as both a person and a negotiator. I could hardly finish my speech at the tournament yesterday, yet you expect me to speak with the Grand Bishop herself? Cold silk clothes, desperation rising in his voice. Look, man, I know it's hard, but my friend's life is on the line. And you don't need to talk if you don't want to. Just send her a letter or something. Please, I'm begging you. There's more to this than you believe. Only my father had the authority to. If there was anyone else I could turn to, I would. But your dad's not here right now, and you're the only one who can help me. That's not true. Father is still... This time, his slip did not go unnoticed. What? Panic filled his chest as Cassius covered his beak with his hand. No, I said too much. You have greatly overstayed your welcome. Please leave. No, you can't just say that in... Cole let out a frustrated growl. At least help me save my friend. How about a deal? If you send a letter to the bishop, I'll keep my mouth shut. I have no idea what you are applying, but you are severely incorrect. Leave now, and I will call the guards. Please, I don't care what weird plots you people have going on. Just help me keep my friend safe. I'm begging you. His desperation, Cole reached out and grabbed his hand to prevent him from escaping. In that moment, the world suddenly slowed. Cassius felt a spark of magic flood through the contact of their skin, a dreadfully familiar spark, like that of two same-faced magnets shoving each other aside. Cole immediately recoiled and retracted his hand, confused and swimming across his face. What the hell was that? Cassius could barely hear him, clutching his own palm in dawning horror. You're the other one, the one that was stolen. What the hell are you talking about? This is all a trick, isn't it? Some sort of plot against my father. The enchanter Agatha put you up to us? Slow down, dude. I have no idea what you're babbling about. Your lies can't fool me. You know, you must. There is no other. You know you must. There's no other explanation. I have to get out of here. Father would be furious. Before Cole had time to retort, a wave of arcane smoke enveloped Cassius as his Misty stepped away. Oh, you're not getting away from me that easily. Huh? No, please leave me alone. I'm not going anywhere until I know for a fact that Autumn is safe. Listen, I don't care about whatever's going on. I just need. Oh, come on. Cassius stepped through the city as fast as his magic could carry him, flickering in and out existence in flashes of smoke as he sailed across Axia. But no matter how far he ran, he could not shake cold from his tail. The hyena seemed to have extremely sharp arcane senses, locking onto his location and Misty stepping after him without missing a beat. Exhaustion was slowly taking root as Cassius pulled into the middle of the town plaza, hunching over his knees and gasping for breath. I don't think I've ever ran this much in my life. Huh? Cassie, please just listen for a second. I know there are a lot going on that I probably don't understand, but at the end of the day, my friend's life is in danger and, well, it's partially my fault. Cassius couldn't hear him through the pounding of blood against his head. He needed to save him and escape somehow. It didn't matter how. And I know you're scared, but if you can send just one little letter, it would mean the world to me. Cassius's breath caught in his throat as the tiniest pang of guilt gripped his chest. The hyena sounded so desperate. He shook his head furiously. No. Father's instructions came before all else. He could not fail him more than he already had. Cassius stood up straight and closed his eyes. Magic welled up deep inside him, slowly streaming through his entire body. Cole seemed to sense it immediately and took a nervous step back. Wait, what are you doing? Time stopped. What the? Cole stumbled on his feet. His stomach had dropped for a split second as though he had fallen from a great height. He glanced around frantically, but the prince was nowhere to be found. Did you just cast a ninth level spell to get out of a conversation? Cole's eyes flashed a turquoise glow as he cast another ghostly gaze on his breath. But no matter where he looked, he could not find a hint of Cassius anywhere. Cole's shoulders fell as he stood silently in the street. Dread pulled inside him and gnawed painfully at his very bones. The prince was gone, and his best hope of saving Ornaby from his own damn mistakes was gone with him. It should have only taken a few moments for Cole to miss his step back to the castle entrance. He was struck with the thought of looking Ornaby in the eyes and decided he could probably drag his feet a tiny bit. They were probably imagining Cole engaging in a harrowing chase across the city and were waiting for his return with the good news. It felt like the only thing he could deliver these days was disappointment. Cole probably would have dawdled a little longer if the embers of Sid's knowing look didn't flicker across his mind like an annoying gnat. It made his stomach gnaw painfully inside until he couldn't ignore it. With a sigh and at least 20 wasted minutes of stewing in his own misery, Cole finally stepped before a castle diluvium's gates in a puff of smoke. He found everyone waiting for him near the entrance. Sid was currently on the ground in a fetal position while Ornaby was chatting enthusiastically with Maeve about the versatility of hand gestures. Calder just looked confused about the social customs of knights but kept his mouth shut. Sid's ears twitched as Cole approached, but he did not lift his head from where it lay buried in his hands. Hey man, where did I miss? I fucked up. Huh? What is it? Was it that bad? Boss, I fucked up so hard. All he still thinks flipping people off is like a casual salute or something. Half the guards in the courtyard think the creator's chosen is a massive dick. As he flipped off the golden prince, as he flipped off the goddamn prince of Axia, what do I do? Well, I remember a wise man telling me people deserve to know the truth and all that good shit. Don't use my words against me. Heh, not so easy when you're on the receiving end, huh? If it makes you feel any better, I don't think the prince is calling for Artie's head right now. He's too busy fleeing to the other end of the city. Too bad Artie's gonna smite me into dust if she ever finds out. Do you have any bright ideas on how I can, gently break the news to her? You're asking me, dude. You're asking me? Dude, I can barely deal with my own fuck-ups. If he starts coming for us, he could probably just throw me to the wolves. Out of the two of us, I deserve the bigger thrashing. Sid finally lifted his head with a frown. Don't say it like that. You know it's true. Cole suddenly spotted him and waved cheerfully, thrusting her middle finger in his direction. For a split second, Cole thought the night had finally caught onto him and made her feelings known. His heart jumped to his throat before he got a hold of himself. Of course not. Ormby hasn't found out yet, and whose fault is that? Shaking himself out of his stupor, Cole forced a smirk and responded with a finger's flip of his own. Ormby grinned brightly like a child who successfully were told a well-received joke. Dude, don't encourage her. I don't know, man. Maybe if we keep this up, we can start a new trend. A crude blasting from the chosen one, or some shit like that. I can't see a world where that possible goes well. Cole, I see you've returned for your negotiations without being forcibly removed by the castle. Might we expect some modicum of success? The amusement in his chest deflated as Cole scratched his head awkwardly, unable to meet her gaze. Well, you know me, I always deliver. It's usually disappointment, but boy, do I deliver. Is this due to your own negotiations or from our good chosen bold display? Ormby blinked. Oh, did I accidentally slip a faux pas during our exchange? My deepest apologies. I am still getting accustomed to all these strange gestures. No, I admire your honesty, Gantier. I wanted to see someone speak plainly to the royal family for years. Sid glanced over the cliffside and looked like he was considering throwing himself off the edge. In any case, barging straight into the prince's room was a risky move, and dare I say, unwise. Did your efforts bear any fruit? Kinda. He just came across as a nervous guy who was not at all ready to be a prince. I played the nice guy card and got him to loosen up a bit. Cole scratched his chin thoughtfully. Then I told him about the details of Ormby's mission. He let slip something interesting. He said the bishop was a close colleague to the king, and, well... Cole glanced at Ormby with a worried frown. Well, it sounded like your mom knows about whatever weird shit is happening involving these rubies. But what? Are you accusing Her Excellency of being involved in some great conspiracy? That is nonsense. My mother may not be a gentle soul, but she is a good and pious woman. Cole, surely you must have misheard. Cole shrugged. I'm just telling you what he said. Prince Cassius kind of babbles a lot when he's nervous, so it's hard to be sure. It gets worse too. I asked him about his father and, Cole hesitated and bit his lip. For a split second, Cassius almost sounded like he thought his dad was still alive. Everyone stared at him, dumbfounded. That's impossible. The king and queen have a public, open casket funeral several weeks ago. Half the city saw it with their own eyes. They're most certainly dead. Yeah, but after that little slip, Cassius started freaking out and ran off like his life depended on it. And when I chased him, he fucking cast time stop just to get away from me. That's pretty damn suspicious, all things considered. May's eyes narrowed. The fact that you're able to share this information means that it is not protected by this hypothetical anti-mimetic spell. These are all just suspicions and theories that you've interpreted from his words, yes? He didn't come out and say, King Roderick is still alive. Obviously not. And such suspicions can still be shared. as dubious as they are. Though I'm having a hard time imagining why the king would want to fake his own death. Maeve exhaled softly, her brows furrowed in frustration. So we are left with more conjecture and unanswered questions, not the most fruitful results. She shot Cole a sharp, measuring look. And you did not even coax an official statement from the prince about recent events. That would have been useful at the very least. When you barged into the royal palace alone, I hope you'd have a more coherent plan than making the prince babble nonsensically and then scaring the wits out of him. Hey, I know you're pissed that you didn't get to interrogate him yourself, but I did the best with what I had. You made a reckless move without consulting anyone else, and for what? What did you two even talk about? Well, May's eyes narrowed, dripping with a suspicion. I would find it most useful if you walked us step by step through how your conversation went. Perhaps we will find insights you could not. Ornstein glared right back. Why do I feel like I'm the one being interrogated right now? Because your integrity is being called into question, to which you should ideally provide answers instead of indignation. Gantier assured me that you are a trustworthy leader of this little merry band, but have yet to witness anything of the sort. Barnaby shuffled in her boots as he glanced between the two of them. Her gaze was filled with an uncountable amount of certainty, as though she was waiting for him to quickly put their doubts to rest. The unwavering faith in those eyes made Cole's insides squirm. Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Our main plan was to barge into that 14th laboratory to dig up dirt on the royal family. This meeting with the prince wouldn't have uncovered any info protected by that anti-mimetic spell anyway. If it doesn't matter, then you should have no problem providing us with the details. Cole tugged at his hair and let out a frustrated sigh. Fine, you know what? Fine, you want to know what we talked about? I was trying to get Cassius to speak with the bishop. Audrey blinked in surprise. To Her Excellency? Whatever for? To convince her to not kill you. What else? Everyone's gaze had snapped to Audrey. Excuse me? The Grand Bishop has threatened to kill the Creator's Chosen? That the church has quite a reputation, but to do that to your own daughter? Audrey suddenly looked very small. How did you find out? Yesterday you told Sid about how your mom threatened to revoke your title. That's a bit hard to do, considering the whole Creator's Chosen thing is passed down after you die. It didn't take much to put two and two together. That is not unprecedented. Aware that the church has discreetly put down several chosen throughout history when they became unruly or a danger to the public. Cole waved his hands in frustration. Well, tough shit, Audrey doesn't deserve any of those categories, does he? I don't think lost a few pieces of jewelry bears a death sentence. So when I got the prince's attention, I tried to get him to remind Audrey's mom that murder is generally frowned upon. My bad if I didn't prioritize our investigation over this. Audrey stared at him quietly, a storm of emotions writhing behind her eyes. The world needs a competent chosen. If I prove to be unworthy, don't care. Get worthy. I never asked for your help. You shouldn't have to ask. Audrey looked taken aback before a tender smile settled across her face. Her smile was filled with undeserved gratitude for the guy who got her into this mess to begin with. Cole felt like he was going to be sick. I suppose I owe you my thanks. Frustration burrowed inside Cole's chest. Why, I fucked up again. The prince made no promise to help, and we barely got any information out of him. Regardless of the results, I appreciate your efforts, Cole. She turned and nodded towards Maeve. I pray this is enough to assuage your suspicions. The noble nodded slowly. It does somewhat. My apologies, Cody. It seems I have misjudged you. But you didn't. Cole wanted to scream. I fucking stole one of the rubies and got her deeper into this mess. Why aren't you angry? The answer was obvious, of course. It was because they don't know the whole story that he should have told them days ago. But instead he kept his mouth shut and silently watched as Artemis led Maeve and counted down the road towards the magistrate district. Sid saw him a look of concern, but Cole couldn't meet his gaze. He could only think of how he promised to come clean to Artemis, how he was supposed to fix her death sentence. He was unable to do either. Cole stood stiffly as Sid placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You doing okay, boss? What does it look like?" You could see a soft smile grow on Sid's face and resisted the urge to smack him. "It looks like you're trying to help people as yourself for once. No impersonating, no dancing around people with your intentions, just honest help. I'm proud of you, boss. Fat lot of good that's been. I fucking ruined everything that I touched and you're all standing there treating me like I'm some sort of..." Cole hissed and covered his face with his hands. "Sorry. That came out wrong. He sighed and waved his hands dismissively. "Go ahead with the others. I need a moment." The bastard looked like he wanted to argue, but simply gave his shoulder a warm squeeze before leaving. Cole sat alone at the castle case, disgust breathing underneath his own skin. It did not get any better when he heard familiar footsteps approaching behind him. "What do you want, old man?" Grank let out a soft chuckle. "Oh, nothing in particular. I simply watched you defend my favorite pupil with the wrath of a true friend. And I am here to offer my thanks." "I don't want your fucking thanks." He glanced up at the Knight Commander. "Please tell me the bishop isn't really going to kill her." "I could, but I would be lying. Nor would this be the first time Katrina Gangier made attempt to her daughter's life." "What?" The bear shook his head quietly. "I cannot speak on the details, but just like all the previous attempts, she will have to go through me first." An amused smile tugged at the edge of his lips. "And it appears she will have to go through you as well. For that, I am thankful." Cole pulled out his hair in frustration. This whole thing sucks. You work closely with the royal family in the church, right? Can't you tell us what's really going on?" "Well..." The Knight Commander opened his mouth to speak, but his jaws suddenly snapped shut. Okay, there's some kind of spell put on him, to keep him from spilling any secrets or to go against any command by the royal family. Because that happened to him with his conversation with Cassius, and I think Cassius accidentally put that spell, the accent on Grank, kind of like you make your subjects kill out in order, even though he did it by accident. But anyway, I think it's something that they use to, silence people from saying stuff or to make them comply with an order, I guess. The Knight Commander opened his mouth to speak, but his jaw suddenly snapped shut. Cole glanced up curiously. For a moment, the old bear's face was at war with itself before it smoothed into an uncannily neutral expression. "I'm afraid I have none of this here." Are you okay, man?" "I'm quite fine." Cole took a step back, thoroughly unsettled. The bear's eyes followed him, but did not quite see him. He bit his lip. Noodle had mentioned sensing some sort of suggestion spell on him the first time they met, didn't he? Cole blinked and whispered quietly under his breath as Message pulled behind his eyes. Ghostly gaze. Cole was thankful his arcane senses had grown sharper over the last few days. His eyes carefully traced over the Knight Commander's body. Most of what he saw was perfectly expected. Grant was a strong paladin, radiating with subtle waves of celestial magic. And in between those waves were traces of that persuasive magic that Noodle mentioned, traces that should have long faded by now, but they clung to him like tiny threads, wound tightly around every limb and tendril. Cole's eyes widened. Nice tattoos. Grant's jaw opened, and then immediately snapped shut once more. But this time, beneath the stiffness, there was an amused twinkle in his eye. I have no tattoos. Of course. Yet there they were, as clear as day. Arcane etchings dug deep into the Knight Commander's skin, wrapping around his body like ink chains. The real question remained: who was pulling the strings? Well, could it be Cass's father, the king? Because it seemed like he let slip that his father is still alive and that he faked his death. Now, we can't really confirm whether he's still alive or not. He's supposed to be dead. Everybody considers him dead because they had a funeral for both of them, and his body was in it. Unless he made a double. But right before Cole came into the prince's bedroom, Cassius talked about his father as if he was still alive, and that he would disappoint his father, even though he's dead. I mean, your father's dead. I mean, why would you disappoint your father when he's dead? I mean, he's talking about. I mean, Cassius is talking like his father might punish him. Like there's real consequences for his father. He disobeys what he tells him to do. I mean, his father, the king, might still be alive. Waldrick, his name, I think. He might still be alive. He faked his death. Working, he could be dead, but I think it could possibly be King Waldrick who's pulling the strings with Gwank here, the Knight Commander. That's what I think. Could be wrong. It suddenly dawned on Cole exactly why this old bear asked him to keep an eye on Ornament instead of just doing it himself. He took several cautious steps back. I better get going. The others are probably waiting for me. A low chuckle escaped from Grant's throat. Something funny? I was right about you the first time we met. You do have sharp eyes. Best of luck, young Collody. Without another word, the old bear turned and disappeared behind the castle gates. To be continued. Okay, so we're done with everything for Temptations Ballad so far now. So I figured that the mother of Autumn was trying to kill her daughter, and she looks at her as a massive disappointment. So by killing Autumn, a new Kratos chosen will be born. But I don't believe her mother loves her at all. All she cares about is the church and the Kratos chosen. You know, she cares more about came out to do with the church and her daughter. So Autumn's life is in danger, and the prince was no help. I really wasn't expecting him to be really of any help, because you know how scared he was, like when he gave that announcement at the Firefly Festival. Though he did let some things slip out. And the fact that Army's mother worked with King Roderick on the rubies, which was a big surprise to Army. And she still thinks her mother is a good woman when she really is not. I hope they can get to the bottom of everything that's happening and get Army some help, because her life is in danger because her mother wants to kill her. So a new creator's chosen can be born. About Calder, I'm gradually starting to like him. Actually, he still is pompous self, but he does at least contribute to the group. To everybody here in the cast. With his knowledge of magic, and as well as this kind of magic where I think only certain people can know about certain stuff. I think so. Sid's forgiven him, and the Army hasn't. But it's clear that he keeps up with that pompous, noble facade. Well, maybe not facade, but he keeps up even more because he wants to impress his grandfather, who looks down on him, and he wants to continue the O'Shaughnessy legacy, and he's worried that his grandfather might disown him. So he has a lot of expectations on him. And looks like Maeve got really angry with Cole, but again, I guess once Cole spilled out even more information, that's when Maeve decided to kind of apologize. Alright, well, I don't think I have anything else to say. So that's it for Temptations Ballad for now. Shortly when a new update comes out, I'll have it out for y'all to look at. Now this new update that I just finished came out 3 weeks ago, so it might be at least a few more months until a new update come out. So anyway, hope y'all enjoyed Temptations Ballad so far. So thank y'all very much for watching. Goodbye.